On Tuesday night at Williams Arena-Minges Coliseum, East Carolina will be hosting the South Carolina State Bulldogs, and right now very excited to be joined by the first-year head coach at South Carolina State, and that is Erik Martin. Coach Martin, we appreciate your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt, Coach. Before we talk about your ball club there and your first head coaching job at South Carolina State, take us back to the early 90s. I know you had the opportunity to play for Coach Huggins at Cincinnati, and then you spent, a little over 15 years on the bench beside him at Kansas State as well as West Virginia.
I did. Great times. Whenever you get a chance to work with a Hall of Famer, which I didn't know he was going to be a Hall of Famer at the time, but he coached me in college, so I had a great deal of respect for him and got a chance to pick his brain for 16 years. And so hopefully as time goes on, I can use some of the ideas and the theories that he taught me to help me become a winner at this level.
As you're implementing your program there at South Carolina State, obviously getting hired back in the middle of the summer, so just talk about some of those things. Give us a Cliff Notes version of some of the things that you are implementing that Coach Huggins, taught you as well as the teams that you guys coached over those years.
No, it starts with accountability. You got to hold your kids accountable, and whatever whatever rules you decide or things you want to do on the court, you got to make sure that those rules apply to everybody. You don't want to play favorites. You make everybody accountable, and you just tell your kids and make sure your kids know that really your first choice of business, to be honest, even though it's basketball, is to make sure they graduate. Because at the end of the day, no one can play basketball for an extended period of time. Eventually, going to need to get a job. So we stress academics. We stress just people skills. These kids, we bring them in and we teach them about basketball. Yeah, we make them go to study hall and class, but it's kind of about, and I'm sure you can back this up, sometimes life is about your people skills. You'd be surprised how many people have gotten a job because the person has liked them. You have two people, same people going up for the same job. The guy that's most personable is going to get that job. And obviously, I tell my kids all the time, a good coach make you a better player. A great coach will make you a better person. So I'm looking forward to doing both of those things. It's my first year. I'm learning a lot, though.
I know, Coach, that you and the Bulldogs are currently, en route to Greenville for tomorrow night's game. But early on in this season, you've had the opportunity to be road warriors, and you've faced a tremendous schedule in the likes of South Carolina, Kentucky, Wake Forest, Western Kentucky, to name a few. So just talk about your ball club and what you've seen here early on through the first 7 games.
Well, whenever you have a stretch like we have, 11 games on the road, in a perfect road, you'd like to get a win or two so your guys could kind of build that confidence. Right now, we haven't won a game yet, but as I said to them today, hey man, life is not always as you plan it. Sometimes you got to create your own good luck. You got to create your own opportunities. So every time we get a chance to play, whether it be at home or away, you got to take advantage of it. They knew the schedule before the season started. I knew the schedule before I ever took the job, so I knew what I was getting myself into. Now that I'm in the mix of it, just trying to get better and make sure my team gets better, because this is we knew what the schedule was. So we aren't going to make any excuses. We're going to try and get better every day, and hopefully we can just keep getting better and play well on Tuesday. We're trying to do this one game at a time. If we've already played the game, it doesn't matter. We can't get it back. If it's a game past Tuesday, it doesn't matter. We just need to take care of the next game, the next practice, the next meeting, to stay in the moment.
Now, Coach, obviously East Carolina has a first-year coach as well. His first head coaching job, Mike Schwartz, coming over from Rick Barnes' staff at Tennessee. So talk about your familiarity with Coach Schwartz, and obviously Coach Schwartz really has a background on the defensive side. Talk about what you're implementing there at South Carolina State on both ends of the court.
Well, coming from working with Coach Huggins, obviously defense is something that's high on my my list of things that are important. But I just think what I'm trying to implement, and I don't know if you can do this in 2-3 months, but just being able to sit down and guard the ball. At the end of the day, most people think, well, you win games by scoring more points. No, at the end of the day, there comes a point in each game where you're going to need to sit down and get stops. And stops not only mean guarding your man, but stops mean when the ball is shot, boxing out and getting a rebound. So those are the points I've been trying to emphasize with my team, and they've gotten better at it. We still got a long way to go, but they've definitely gotten better since day one.
On the defensive end, who are some of the guys that have really, really shown some things that you've liked through the first 7 games on the defensive end?
I don't think I can narrow it down to one person. I think we all need to get better. I mean, obviously, I think Rakeem Gary, our point guard who was starting, is now coming off the bench. He's probably our best on-the-ball defender. He's quick, got great hands. He does a great job. Shaman Alston, another mid-range player. He's 6'3", got great feet, can guard 1 through 3. But I'm just naming a couple guys. The reality is, as a team, we need to get better. I don't think you can have all the individual defenders that you need and want, but your team defense is really what makes you a good team, because guys are going to get beat all the time, whether they're helping or overplaying the passing lanes. Your team defense is really what makes you a good team or a great team.
Thus far, you've struggled shooting the basketball, but for a fan attending tomorrow night's game, what will fans see when they see you? How do you like to play offense?
I hope ball movement. That's been what I'm preaching since day one. It's so hard to defend if the ball doesn't stick. It's one thing if you're coming off the ball screen and you're looking for the roll guy or the throwback guy, but when that happens and that ball moves, it's hard for the defense to catch up with it. So if you can get the ball moving and don't let it stick in one person's hand on one side of the floor, you'll have driving opportunity. You'll have lanes to drive. So I never thought that this would be that my team would just pick this up immediately, but I think they have gotten better. And I think, as I told them, the season is not 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a long season. So we just got to take it one game at a time, and we'll be just fine. I like my team. I like the way, even though we haven't won, they've competed, and that's all I can ask.
Offensively, talk about some of the guys who've really led you thus far.
Well, I mean, to be honest, our offense has kind of been like our season. If one or two guys, maybe for 2 games, and then the next game, it's a different guys. I mean, the negative is you don't know exactly what you're going to get from night to night. The positive is every night someone else steps up. I think we just need to work on consistency. And maybe that comes when we do get a home game or 2. But as I've told them all year, it doesn't matter what arena we're going to, fellas. I can guarantee you the basket's going to be 10 feet tall, as they were when you played AAU, as they were when you played high school. So if they have a wide open shot, I want to step in and shoot it with confidence. If not, one more pass. Maybe your teammate has a better shot. That's what I'm implementing. And once again, I do think they're getting better at that. We still have a long way to go, though.
One of the things that really stood out as I was looking over your team's numbers, very much like East Carolina, with Coach Schwartz having so many inexperienced, unproven pieces, is I think you've had 9 different guys start games and 11 or 12 guys play 10 minutes or more on average, and no one averaged more than 25 minutes a game.
Yeah, the way I play, and we probably aren't pressing as much now as we did at the start of the season, but I'm a firm believer that I want you to play so hard that you can only really play 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and I get someone in there who's fresh. And so now you got 10, 11 guys playing. Everybody's invested in the process. There's not someone on the side saying, "Oh, I'm not going to play, so I'm not going to work hard at practice." To me, that builds competition, and you want them to compete. That's what I was. That's what I was raised on, competition. That's what I coached at West Virginia, Kansas State, and Cincinnati State. If you don't compete in practice, you're not going to get in the game. And for the most part, all 12 12 to, well, we had 13, but all of my kids, we're going to compete in practice. That's non-negotiable.
In preparation for this game, East Carolina has really received some terrific performances thus far from point guard Javon Small and then also Brandon Johnson in the front court. What do you know about the Pirates?
I saw them play multiple games. Arlington, UT Arlington, Toledo. I mean, all I did yesterday was watch film on them, and they're going to be hard to stop. That's my biggest fear is how do we slow down the guards, and then we got to get back in transition. To be honest, they kind of reminded me of a Western Kentucky, just they don't have the size that Western Kentucky has, but they got guards that can shoot. They got a big they can throw the ball into, and shoot, they play 9 or 10 also. So we got our hands full, but I truly believe at the end of the year that this 11-game road stand that we're going on, it's going to make us a better team. Yeah, it's going to make us a better team.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your time this afternoon as you and the Bulldogs are on your way to Greenville. And best of luck tomorrow night and this season. And we'd love to have you back on sometime down the road.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. And anytime, you got my number, got my email. I appreciate it.
Pirate Nation, that is first-year head coach at South Carolina State University, Erik Martin.